That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Till Death, the directorial debut of S.K. Skadale, which Screen Media is releasing July 2nd, 2021, starring Megan Fox.
Has this director done something else?
Did I?
Did you say directorial debut?
I believe I did.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
No. Some short films, yes.
Okay. So this is like a thriller.
It's like it's like Britney Spears, like an entertainer.
Like an entertainer.
It's like a thriller.
So the basic story was enough to get my attention. The plot synopsis says something about a woman is handcuffed to her dead husband.
Very Stephen King.
Yeah. So, okay, the basic story is Megan Fox plays a character named Emma, and Emma is married to Mark.
Played by Eoin Macken.
So it's clear they have a strained relationship. Mark is probably very controlling. Emma seems very unhappy with him. We also find out Emma is having an affair with a man named Tom.
Played by Aml Ameen.
Who works with Mark. And they are attorneys, it appears. Okay. So on the night of their anniversary, we see that Mark and Emma go out to dinner.
For their anniversary.
It's uncomfortable. Mark gives her a gift, this like steel necklace, because it's their 11th year anniversary.
It's not really pretty.
It doesn't match what she's wearing, so the fact that he wants her to wear it is funny.
It's questionable, yeah.
She gives him Super Bowl tickets, which he doesn't want because his favorite team's not going to the Super Bowl anyway. So that's awkward. He says, let's go. I have another surprise. They go on a drive. She's blindfolded. She's getting frustrated. Like, I don't want to be blindfolded. I'm getting car sick. What are you up to? She takes the blindfold off and they're on their way to like a lake house that maybe they own, because she's familiar with this lake house. And she's like, oh, I've never seen it during the winter. So the lake is iced out. They get there. They have a night of lovemaking, it would seem. So we see them wake up the next morning, and Emma is handcuffed to Mark. Mark is still alive. He's being somewhat ominous, saying some interesting things when he shoots himself in the head. Mm-hmm. So now Emma has blood and brain matter all over her. And she sort of casually gets up and is trying to figure out what to do. Mark has planned for this because the phones are not working. All of the tools in the house are have been removed. But Tom, Emma's lover, shows up. So we find out Mark had set it up so Tom would show up. Also, a plumber shows up, who we are told is a plumber. But Tom realizes this is weird, like you shouldn't be here. It turns out the people who show up, it's a man Emma has had an experience with prior. And we'll get into it because the film doesn't really explain their relationship. I thought they had dated, but you thought that he had just assaulted her. But we do see like a police report showing that Emma at a point had been assaulted, like she's physically hurt by this man who shows up at the house with his brother. So the man's name is
Bobby Ray.
And then his brother Jimmy.
Yeah, played. So Bobby Ray is played by Callan Mulvey, and Jack Roth, the son of Tim Roth, is his brother.
Oh, okay. So to recap, Emma's at this lake house with her dead husband handcuffed to her. Her lover, this black man named Tom, has shown up, and these two men, Jimmy and Bobby Ray, show up. Bobby Ray is not a good guy. He's there because Mark, the dead husband, has told him, like, there are $200,000 worth of diamonds in the house. They're yours if you come. Knowing that he's probably going to kill the lady, Emma. So they kill the black man first. And then from then on, it's like a cat and mouse game between Emma and the two guys. Emma's able to get the upper hand because Jimmy, the brother, thinks that what Bobby Ray's doing, Bobby Ray, what he's doing is wrong. So Bobby Ray ends up killing his brother. So now it's just the bad guy and Emma going back and forth until she's able to get out of the handcuffs, and then she handcuffs the bad guy to her dead husband. And I think this is the movie poster where they end up crawling out onto like the frozen lake and they break through the ice. So now the bad guy is drowning at the bottom with the husband attached to him, but he also brings down Emma. But Emma's able to get back up.
And crawls bloodily out onto the ice, which kind of recalls the opening shot of Gaspar Noé's climax.
Okay, but that's the end. All right, that was rough, sorry. So, what were your initial thoughts about this movie?
Well, it reminded me pleasantly of early 90s like B-grade adult thrillers. And then there are elements that are interesting here, but you're so distracted by so many other things that you can't help but think how this could have been kind of a really good B-grade slick film, and it's not.
So I agree, the two biggest issues, one, the fact that this Mark, the husband, planned to not only kill himself. I mean, I can see how he thought, oh, this woman I married, I can't stand her ass, she's cheating on me. Even though Emma does explain that Mark had cheated on her before. The fact that he wants to, in death, ruin her life makes sense to me. But I just didn't quite understand why he wanted to die. If anything, I would have set it up so, let this bitch die and I can move on. So that portion of it didn't make sense to me. That he would take his own life, knowing that he could have called this bad guy to come get the diamonds. And he would just kill the lady.
We needed to spend, maybe a good 10 to 15... The movie's 92 minutes, which is fine. But it really would have assisted us with 10 to 15 minutes more, I think, of this situation with her and her lover and her and Mark. The film that I kept thinking of quite a bit was Final Analysis, starring Richard Gere and Kim Basinger from the early 90s, which is actually a really fun film. And as we were talking, because you'd referenced Sleeping with the Enemy as well, Megan Fox is not Julia Roberts and Kim Basinger level, but if just a little bit more had been there, I think it really could have made the scene less nonsensical.
Well, I said the two things that didn't work were the plot line of the husband killing himself, but the bigger issue is Megan Fox is beautiful. She is striking, stunning, all the things, and to see her still it's captivating. But that lady has no charisma, no personality.
I mean, she fares better here than in Rogue.
Because in Rogue, she's playing this
mercenary
in the African safari. So yeah, it was laughable. In this, it's okay, she's a sort of trophy wife who's being controlled by her husband, sure. But just in every scene where she should emote something, she's so flat.
I agree.
It definitely seems like Megan Fox is more concerned about how she looks
than
being vulnerable as an actor.
Because it's like the new Angelina film as well, where she's a firefighter and she's the glossy and made up, Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Megan Fox in this movie has full hair and makeup in every scene, even in scenes that don't make sense, like when she first wakes up in the morning, is clearly freshly powdered, freshly applied lip gloss, perfectly manicured eyebrows.
It's groaning that she's hungover.
Then when her husband kills himself, she has gray matter and blood all over her face. And there's even a point that a character makes about why would you wash your face off? This was proof that you didn't do it. And she's well, I'm not going to walk around with all this blood and shit on my face. And it's yeah, not only did you wash it off, but you reapplied a full face of makeup. I just thought that really took me out. On top of her not having much personality as in this performance. And I've only seen her in the Transformers movie. And then I saw her in Rogue.
Oh, you haven't seen Jennifer's Body?
No. But she's beautiful to look at and still, but...
She reminded me of, I think for the first time looking at her in this, that there's this old 1940s star, Ella Raines, if you look her up, from Phantom Lady. She looks a lot like Megan.
Yeah, again, beautiful, but I mean, her energy level is I don't know. I feel if I were an actor, I'd be like Megan Fox. And that's not good.
No,
but
I disagree. Lots of uniqueness, charisma.
I mean, I think I have more personality than her, but how my energy level is always low and how I mope around the house. You know what I mean? She's kind of moving around this movie just nah.
Yeah. Once we get to this cabin, so it was shot in Bulgaria, fronting for New York. I think the overall look of the film is perfectly fine. I liked that it reminded me of Stephen King's Gerald Game, where
Okay.
similarly a woman wakes up next to her husband's corpse in the bed. Much more of a psychological exercise and probably one of his more astute novels. But it quickly segues into there is a lot of time spent where Megan Fox is lugging the body around, which I think we were both talking to the television a lot, like, why wouldn't you just break his wrist or do something? Like, I would stomp on his wrist and
Well, okay.
because then it becomes there's almost a Weekend at Bernie's quality to that.
Yes. There's a scene because Mark, before he kills himself, puts Emma's cell phone in like a vase filled with water and flowers. And she finds it. And Emma takes the phone and kind of rubs it on her sleeve and is like, it doesn't work. But I wrote down, I think 50% of Megan Fox's dialogue is her grunting. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of her just like, I thought that was funny. Also, yeah, getting back to the Weekend at Bernie's quality of it, it's just like Emma does eventually get into like a shed and she finds like a small shovel or an anchor, yes, to chop off the hand. But my immediate thought would be like, I would have crushed this fool's wrist and hand.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't even gotten down those stairs.
Yeah, we wouldn't even made it like out of the bedroom before I would have smashed his hand.
But where would the film be without that?
Also, when she's chopping off his hand with that anchor, she has zero enthusiasm. She's like,
Well, she's also supposed to be quiet because Jack Roth is coming around the corner too to almost discover her.
Okay. What I think does work well for the movie is that, for an hour of the 90 minutes, it's just Emma trying to like the cat and mouse thing with Bobby Ray, Billy Ray, and Jimmy. And I think the writing of that and the pacing is well done.
The pacing, Jason Carvey wrote the screenplay. And yeah, I agree. I wanted more in other areres. But
I thought that was well done.
I was nervous because once we were stuck in the house, it's like, there's a whole act and a half left where this is where we will stay. And it does do a good job of balancing that energy.
I think if Megan Fox would have been replaced by a similarly beautiful actor who has a little more to give and is a little more willing to be vulnerable, this could have been a significantly better film.
I agree. I find her interesting in a way that, is usually at odds with the material that she's in. But the other limited cast are fine. Eoin Macken, who's in The Forest, that Natalie Dormer film from a few years ago. I haven't seen I May Destroy You, with which Aml Ameen is in. And I've not also seen Idris Elba directed a film called Yardi that he's in, and also something called Cadulthood from the mid-2000s. And Jack Roth from Bohemian Rhapsody. I think Callan Mulvey is particularly well cast as Bobby Ray, but he's always a bad guy. We saw him recently in Shadow in the Cloud, but he's usually kind of a sinister persona. But yeah, the rest of them I thought were fine.
What would you give this film?
2 out of 5.
I would give it 2 out of 5 as well. Thank you.
Bye.